Hi everyone, I'm Jodi and welcome to my channel. I'm really glad that you're here today. So this video is all about the best ways and the tips and tricks and some pro tips on how to wear glasses with makeup. Now, with masks and you have the steam and the fog, it adds an extra element of complication, if you will, that we just need to overcome. And in this video, I've got two very different looks for you and some pro tips on how to work with your lenses, work with your frames, work with the color of your skin, and to help combat some of that fogging and steaming that can happen when you wear masks. So if you are ready for it, I have my glasses on. I'm gonna take them off for our makeup. Now, a few things that you're gonna wanna have with you sort of before we get started. I sound like one of those baking channels, like before you get started, you need a pound of hamburger and this and that. So yeah, kind of think about it that way. Before you get started with any eye makeup look, especially with glasses, there are a few tools that I would say are really important and critical to have. So if you don't have them, it's no problem, but I would invest in them and they don't cost a whole lot. Number one that I would always make sure I have is an eyelash curler, because curling your lashes really helps keep them from hitting the lenses and gives them sort of a nice flutter look and makes your eyes appear more open. Always curl your lashes would be a big recommendation. I definitely do that every day. The other thing I would invest in is some Lumify. The Lumify it's by Bausch & Lomb. I just put in a few drops to brighten the white of my eyes. It just sort of gets rid of any of the redness if you have any, or any veins, or just, I notice as I get older, the white of my eye isn't as crisp as I would like it to. Lumify, absolutely, it works fantastic. I'm not sponsored by Lumify, by the way, or any of these products, but I swear, especially if you're gonna have glasses on where everything is very magnetized, I would absolutely have some Lumify. It's a little on the spendy side. I think this small bottle is maybe $9, maybe $19. I really don't remember, but I'll link it down below. But one drop is all you need, and it sort of erases any late nights or, you know, wine infused nights, anything like that. Swear by that stuff. And then I would always make sure that you have a really good moisturizer for your eyes, whether it's a serum or a moisturizer, just because that area, as we all know, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but it gets dry and can look a little crepey. And with glasses, it certainly can help magnify what is underneath your eye area. So I love the Eye Achiever by Maya Chia. I've talked about this one before. It's on a roller ball. It's a very nice serum. It's all natural. I just use some of this and I dot it underneath my eyes on both sides. So, and I also put it above my lip too, as I'm starting to see wrinkles get there. So that's sort of your supplier's toolkit needed in order to make any good eye look its very best. All right, so for this first look, you guys, we're gonna make it pretty simple, and we can adapt the type of darkness to the lips and stuff as we go through the tutorial, and you can certainly make some changes. So we'll do more of a fun, everyday look. That can also be a night look if you just simply change your lipstick, and then we'll do more of a look with some color on the eyes. A couple things that I've learned recently just about wearing glasses and doing a ton of research is a couple key things is the darker the lenses, the more reflective dark will go underneath your eyes. So a really good concealer is super important. It's a kind of a must-have, because not only is it important to ensure that you're not having reflection down underneath this area where we can already have dark circles, but it's also really important to have above your eyebrows, because that's sort of the star of the show, is that space right there. So a really good concealer is critically important. I love the L'Oreal Infallible. I use this one a lot. I want to talk for a second about Shape Tape. So there's always confusion around this, and I was confused until I tried all three of them. So there's the Tarte Ultra Creamy, there's the original Tarte Shape Tape, and then there's the Tarte Creaseless Concealer. Now, the Creaseless Concealer is the one that I tend to use more often than the other two. The other two are a little bit thinner, but I feel like because of their thinness, the consistency slips throughout the day. And when I say slip, I mean it slips into cracks and wrinkles and nothing that I want to highlight. So I don't reach for these two nearly as often, in fact, really hardly ever anymore, as I do the Creaseless Concealer if I'm not able to get a hold of this L'Oreal Infallible. So those would be my two that I would recommend, and you definitely want to go a little bit lighter on the concealer, especially if you have darker lenses. Now, the thing about eyeglasses to think about is if you're gonna wear glasses, whether it's on a Zoom call or FaceTime or in person, what you put underneath is gonna really be magnified if you have thicker lenses and you have sort of that thick magnified look. If your lenses are for more far distancing, then things are gonna appear smaller. So it's okay to sort of go bigger than you normally would. But again, if your glasses are on the thicker side, then you really kind of wanna make your eyes look a little smaller because the lens itself will tend to make your eyes bigger. The other fun thing about glasses is the thicker the rim or the frame, the thicker you want your eyeliner to be. And we'll see that in these two looks. So I wear reading glasses and they definitely are more on the thin side. Gosh, they looked clean a second ago. So my liner will be thinner as well. Now, if I were to go to a thicker pair of glasses, and sometimes I'll wear these clear glasses if I really want an eye look to stand out. If that's the case, because the lenses are more transparent, then that rule doesn't necessarily apply. So the thicker the frame, the thicker the eyeliner. Now, the last thing to think about is your eyeshadow. Shadow can certainly look really good or not so good with lenses. So I try to keep the eyeshadow to a minimum and really play up from the mascara, the lashes, and the liner, and then the lips, and sort of play those back and forth. So this first look we're gonna do today is gonna be about playing the eyes very clean and natural and a nicer, bolder lip. So the first thing that I do is obviously get my foundation. Now with foundation, when it comes to glasses and foundation, you really want to wear more of a matte because a matte foundation will tend to slip less where the glasses are touching your face. So whether it's the inside of your nose or whether it's on the rim of your cheeks, you really want to keep that not as slippery as a semi-gloss or a more dewy foundation will tend to leave your skin. So you want to lean more towards matte. Now, I love this Milani Concealer 2-in-1 Concealer Foundation. It is more of a matte. It's a nice thick foundation. It can be too thick for some people. So if you don't like a thick foundation, you may not like this one. Before you say you don't like it, I'd give it a try. And I would dilute it with a good moisturizing lotion so that it's sort of cut in half foundation and half moisturizer, and use that and see if you like it, because it is a good foundation. It covers everything and it stays really well all day in place if you set it with a little bit of powder. If you don't like a thicker foundation, but you do want to have a foundation, then you can go for more of a BB cream or a CC cream, or just wear a concealer. Now, if you have a foundation and you love it and you're like, oh, I don't want to go buy a new foundation that's matte, then just get a concealer that is more on the matte side and put it right where your glasses will touch your face instead of foundation, not on top of or below, but instead of the foundation, and just blend it in. That way the lenses are sitting more on that matte product versus something with more of a dewy finish. And then setting it with powder, of course, will certainly help. So once you get a nice foundation to work from, then you just want to make sure that your eyebrows are on point, because they do take sort of center stage. Whether your eyebrows go above your lenses or below your lenses, then whichever way you wear them, they're going to be sort of in that main focal point. So we want to make sure that our brows are the way we want them to look. And then just to make them a little more sharp, and this is a super easy step, is just grab your concealer and any type of a concealer type brush. I really do like these nylon synthetic type brushes for concealer. And I'll just take a little bit of that on the brush and just kind of sharpen up. I'm going to do it a little dramatic just for the purposes of you being able to see it on camera, but it does make a difference. Now, this is a good step instead of eyeshadow. So if you're like, Jodi, I only have 10 minutes to get ready in the morning, I can't do all these steps, just think of this instead of your eyeshadow step, and it goes pretty fast. So just gonna real quickly sort of outline just to give it that nice sharp look. And then I'm just gonna put a few dots underneath my eye, because again, you do tend to have some shadowing from your lenses when you have darker lenses. And then we're just gonna blend that out, and it just gives a nice sharp crispness. And then we're gonna go with a damp beauty sponge and put that all into our concealer. Now, as I'm blending this out, which I could do for a while because it does seem to look better, the more you tend to bounce it out. And I will use my fingers, especially for like on a 10-minute timer, which I should have said we should try this in 10 minutes, but I do think you could do it in 10. And then whatever's left on your beauty sponge, I just would put it all over my lid, because your lids are not gonna have a shadow on them, so you want them to match the rest of your face. And then I do see that I have some purple still on the inside of my eye. Could be because it's a little bit later in the day and it's been a long day. So this is, thank goodness for concealer. It hides a lot. Yeah, there we go. So we're just gonna cover all that up, anything purple, just to make sure that you're working from a nice neutral. Press in that concealer really well, because we don't want anything to show through the lenses with the concealer. Next, what I would do is take a high definition or a translucent powder, whichever one you use. I like this NYX high definition finishing powder, and just put it right on your beauty sponge and then damp it off a little bit so it's kind of more moist, and just press that in under your eye area. And then I like to go right where I put that concealer above my eyebrow, just to sort of give it a set, and all over your eyelid. That way you're working from that whole neutral place. And from there, it's starting to come together. We're gonna grab our trusty eyelash curler, which I just swear by this thing, and just sort of crimp at the roots and then crimp all the way out. I don't crimp it right at the root and then leave it. I do try to like crimp it all the way out so that it has more of a flutter look to it. I think that definitely helps to do your lashes that way. Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna pick up our bronzer. Now, the bronzer I'm gonna use for this first look is the bronzer I use almost every day, and this is the Milani Suntan. And I wanna just bronze a little bit around my face, because we've given it sort of that matte look, if you will. All one tone, and no one's face is all one tone. So I'm just gonna bronze. Now this is not contouring, this is bronzing. So I just wanna kind of give it a little bit of warmth so that my whole face isn't all one color. And you'll see why that'll play in just a second. And then we'll pull that down and just do a little bit of definition on my cheeks, kind of where the sun would go, nice glowy, sun-kissed look. And then down around my jawline. Now, again, because this is a bronzer, I try to just stay sort of within this figure 8 space and just kind of bronze where the sun would kiss your skin if you were outside or driving in a car or whatever it is, that you would get a little bit of a sun glow. Then what we're gonna do with that same bronzer is, and if you don't use bronzer on your face, you can completely skip that step and this will still look good. I'm just gonna take a brush, and this one's a little bit on the fluffy side, and just get a little bit of that bronzer and just go right in that crease of your eye. Now, we're not trying to make a crease, and we're not trying to put some eyeshadow there. We're just trying to give a little bit of a shadow that would naturally be on your eye because there's a crease there. So just a nice natural, because if your eyelid was all one color, that would look unnatural, because that's just not how our eyelids are, because there's shading there as well. So I would just do that, just with that little bit of bronzer, and it just starts to come together with a really nice, warm, sun-kissed look. Now, obviously, if you have darker skin, then all of these shades that I'm using just go 2 or 3 shades darker. And if you have lighter skin, then just adjust all these colors that I'm talking about 2 or 3 shades lighter. For the concealer, for the Infallible, just to give you a heads up, I am wearing Vanilla 355, so that should help. And then again, all these products will be listed in that description box below. You just hit that more, the word more, underneath my name and sort of the description, and that'll open up everything for you. Then what I would do, we're gonna wanna make sure that we take really good care of our cheeks, and I normally would reach for a cream thin, but because we're gonna try to keep this area with as less of product, especially anything that's more slippery, then I would wear a powdered blush if you are wearing glasses. So for a powdered blush, I love this Physicians formula. This is in Vintage Rouge. Is that the color? Oh, it is Butter Blush Vintage Rouge. Okay, so that is Vintage Rouge. And we are just gonna go with a little bit of a fan brush, and I'm just gonna go to the high side of my cheeks just to give a little bit of color. Again, my cheeks are not the star of this show. The eyes are, and the lips, but we need a little bit of something. Wow, I wish Sometimes I wish this was live so somebody could say, hey, your hair is sticking out crazy on that one side. Okay, because I'm so busy looking at my face, which by the end of the day, trust me, I don't want to look at my face anymore because I've done it for 8 hours. Anyway, carry on. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go with mascara, and mascara plays a critical role in, obviously, when you're wearing glasses. So curling your lashes is critically important so that your lashes aren't constantly hitting the front of your lens. And when your lashes are thicker and longer and more volume to them, they're gonna show up more. So whether you have lenses that help you see far away or you have lenses that help you see close up that are a little on the thicker side, a good mascara is really important because those clumps that are left behind if your glasses are magnified could really look a lot worse magnified. So I love Lancome Idol. You guys have heard me talk about this before. One of the reasons I love it is because the brush. I love how this brush has the arch just right in that one little section. And the bristles are taller right there. And it allows me to go all the way to the root and the base and really get to the top side. If I just go down on this underside and wiggle, it coats the whole lash, not just the underside of the lash. Have you ever been with someone and their lashes look stunning and then they close their eyes and the whole top of their lashes don't have coating on them? Now you can certainly coat them from your eye being closed and go down. I'm just not coordinated enough to do that with any sense of grace and without making a huge mess. So this brush has really helped me a lot in that area. And after I've done 2 coats of a good mascara that doesn't clump and I let that dry, and you see I have a spot right here. If that happens, just let that dry as well, then that will flake right off. And after I do 2 coats of regular mascara, then I'll add a 3rd coat, which this Neutrogena Hydro Boost is my favorite. The 3rd coat's waterproof, so it really does help from transferring any color from your lashes and your mascara down below. And as you're wearing glasses with a mask right now, that fog and the steam, if you will, really does play havoc, as you guys all know if you wear glasses, with your mascara. So coating your mascara with a waterproof mascara that hydrates. Some waterproof mascaras can be really drying on the lashes, but right now with masks and the fog and stuff that can happen, I would absolutely coat with a good waterproof mascara. And because we want our lashes to steal the show, if you will, I would go a little bit on the bottom of my lashes, but just ever so slightly, just to give some dimension to my whole eye so that it doesn't look like my eyelashes are sort of floating with nothing holding them down. But I'll keep it really as dark as I can to the root of the lash and then just sort of wiggle it and pull it out so that it gives some coat. But you know, the older we get, our lashes are farther apart, farther spaced apart. And when you put mascara on them, to me, it just highlights the distance between each lash. And that to me screams age in my own head to me. So if that doesn't bother you, then go for it and put on as much mascara on your bottom lashes as you like. I just don't really love that look. So then we're gonna just erase this little mess that we made and just wipe that right off. Just go right back with that and touch that up. That was easy. Okay, now we're gonna grab the high brow gel, and you can use any brow pencil. I just like one that's more light, kind of a NYX Yogurt is another really good one. And I just like to go right underneath my lashes just to give it a little bit of a different dimensional color between the bronzer that we put in our crease area and then the mascara on the bottom, and then this just adds a little bit of highlight to your eyes to sort of help everything lift. So we're rocking right along. Okay, from there, now our eyes are pretty well finished. You can take that, and I just think I might do that, just because it's a nice light color. You could go right on the inside of your lash, just to make those stand out a little bit more. Yeah, that just makes it a little bit more bright, perhaps. I mean, while we're brightening, let's just go for it. If you have really dry skin in here, I'd use this pretty lightly, but if not, and you've moisturized pretty well, then I would go for it. So the next thing we're gonna do is move to lips, because with a neutral type, bold but beautiful, clean eye, we're gonna wanna go with a little bit more of a darker lip. Now, I'm not a dark lip person, but, and if you're not either, totally fine. There's a lot of good moisturizing lip glosses, if you will, that are on the market. I reviewed these recently. No, that's not true. I reviewed these about 6 months ago. Time flies. These are Burt's Bees, and they're really hydrating for the lips. It was one of the worst videos that I have for some reason. I'll link it here. Not that you want to see it, because I think less than 100 people have watched that video, but I was reviewing these Burt's Bees lip sticks, lip glosses, lip shimmers, and they are so good, and yet that video was an utter miss. So I don't know why that is, but if you like this look but you're not a lipstick person, then these Burt's Bees really are, I think, a great alternative, because they have really pretty colors. It adds a nice natural look to your lips. So we can put, I'm not really a red person, but we can put this color on. This is Cherry. Might be nice for every day. That gives a nice look. It's not my type of a look. So these are pretty dark. There's also a Plum. You could go really dark if you wanted. So if you don't like lipstick, there is alternatives to this look. I just would think about what color shirt you're gonna have on, what color are your rims of your glasses, and pull those together. Now, if you have bright red rimmed glasses, then a bright red lip or a very neutral lip is probably gonna have to be the way to go. It's just so that you're not competing with those lenses. But you can see that's sort of a natural type look. I should have put on lip liner, but let's just go back and do that. And once you find the lipstick or the lip color that you like, I go back in with my concealer. And again, you can grab your Creaseless by Tarte or your Infallible or whichever one you prefer. And I just like to line that concealer right along that lip line. As we get older, these lip line things just take on a life of their own. And I find that a little bit of a line there of the concealer sort of stops any bleeding from my lipstick or my lip gloss or my lip shimmer, and makes a nice straight line that is more likely to stay longer throughout the day. And then I'll just press that a little bit. And then once you brush, once you sometimes, boy, we know that as women, we get hairs some places that make you feel like you need a brush. Once you use a makeup brush, just kind of comb that down or outline it. And then just feather it into the rest of your look so that it doesn't look like there's anything there. There. Now, if you did want to go darker or more bold with a lipstick, then Maybelline has some really good colors in this 24-hour stay. And I love it because there's a moisturizing stick first that you can use to moisturize your lips, which I don't use because I use Aquaphor. And then you can go to this other side, which is, you know, a nice doe foot applicator, and put on sort of that brighter, bolder lip. Now I'm going to go more mauve tones because I'm just more comfortable with that than I am red. I did wear bright red lipstick one time, but my dress was bright red and it looked okay. It's just not my favorite. But for those of you that can wear bright red lipstick, I have lipstick envy because it just looks so beautiful. Such a classic look, I think. Okay, so that pretty much does it, you guys, for look number one. Now this can be a daytime look with more of a lip gloss, lip shimmer. The key is to just go a little bit more bold with your lips, and then you can go with the lipstick. Then if you wanted to take this into night, you could simply just go with a brighter, darker type lip, and then take a little bit of eyeliner and go maybe rim your eyes if you have thicker lenses, because you want to kind of give the appearance of the eyes being smaller. And if you have lenses that are farther apart, then you could rim the outer edge of your lash. And we're going to do that for look number two. So this is just a look if you're more comfortable with your lips being center stage than your eyes, but your eyes still play a very key role because of the glasses. That's what this look is for. And this works well with almost any color frame and with the thickness of the frame. That doesn't put as much play into this look because there's no eyeliner. But we also don't have any shadow on, which is critically important. So that's look number one. So now we're going to transition into the next look. And because the foundation is exactly the same for this next look, the biggest thing we have to do is remove our lipstick, and we're going to work around the eyes. So this next look is really more about the eyes and less about the lip. And I'm just going to wipe off my lipstick with some coconut oil. As you guys know, I love coconut oil. I use it for everything. Just sort of get our lips back to neutral or transparent as mine become as I get older. All right, I'm just gonna let that start to moisturize with some Aquaphor as we're doing the rest of our eye makeup. All right, so while my lips are moisturizing for the next look, we're gonna keep our foundation the same, our blush the same, our bronzer the same, and add a little bit of highlight, which you can certainly do with the other look if you're a highlight person. I don't know how I forgot the highlighter, but we can add it at any point. And for that, I just like to use a little fluffy brush. This is the Revlon Reloaded. I love this Revlon Reloaded. I really should get another highlighter to share with you guys, but I love that one. So we're just gonna put a little bit of powder on our cheeks. And again, because the lenses are gonna sit right about here, adding a little highlighter there is completely fine. And you could add some setting spray if you wanted. I'm not a huge setting spray person because I just feel like it's gotta be a lot of layers before I'll use a setting spray. But because we kept it pretty light with the exception of the foundation, I don't think I would need a setting spray for this look. So we're not going to take off our mascara because that'll be a critically important point. So let's just pretend that our eyes just have nothing on them, not even mascara. I would still go in with a concealer, and we can certainly do that again just to cover up the bronze from the other look. And when you're wearing glasses, a cream eyeshadow is a much more forgiving eyeshadow. I think with whether you're wearing glasses or not as we age, cream eyeshadow just is more flattering on my eyes than a powder. Now, if you're wearing, you know, a lot of different layers and you want to do a bunch of different colors, then of course shadows in powder form is easier to apply. But for glass wearers, for those that wear glasses, I would suggest a cream or a few cream eyeshadows. Now, I just recently did a cream eyeshadow tutorial, which I'll link right up here if you haven't seen it. It really does help you sort of understand where and how to work with cream eyeshadows. It's way easier, I think, than powdered foundation. And you don't need a primer with cream eyeshadow, which is a great thing for those of us that are aging and or wearing glasses. So you don't need a primer, so that's one less layer. And whenever we can remove a layer, I'm all for it. So I'm just gonna get that concealer on there just to sort of let it get a nice neutral type look to it. And then I'll go back in with my beauty sponge, a little bit of concealer. And again, this is if you're starting from scratch. I'm putting this on again just so that you can see it, but this is from scratch, this whole look. A little bit of setting, or a little bit of translucent powder back of my hand, and just set in that concealer just so that your cream eyeshadow has a nice place to go. So from there, we're gonna add a few cream eyeshadows. Now, I really love these the ones that came from Bobbi Brown in her Soho collection. This one is Golden Bronze, really pretty color. And then this other one is, I think, Dusty Mauve, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Dusty Mauve. And both of those make a really nice, pretty color. And then I would still use some sort of a highlighting glow stick. I'm going back to the Benefit Highbrow Glow, because it's just a nice, I just think it's a nice highlight, but doesn't look highlighty, if that makes sense. And let's just do these other two. This is the Dusty Mauve. So you can see that color is really pretty. And then this is the Golden Bronze. Yeah, those are really pretty as well. So for this look, I don't know, we're gonna start with the, I think we're gonna go with the Dusty Mauve. Yeah, let's do the Dusty Mauve. This, I'm just gonna go just above that lash line, but only about halfway in. So from my eye socket to about halfway in, right on the lash. We're gonna do that on both sides. Okay, and then from there you can take any type of a brush. I'll go back with a synthetic type brush just because I think it works better with creamy stuff than a fluffy brush. And I'm just gonna blend that in so that it doesn't look like I just used crayons, which is essentially what we did. And just go up and sort of make a little V, but really not going to the center of your eye, keeping it really on the outside. And again, you guys, because you're wearing glasses, it may feel like you have to be really precise. Cream eyeshadows, you don't, which is why I love them, because they're foolproof. Well, that's not true. I've made some big mistakes with cream eyeshadow, so don't let me fool you. They're not completely foolproof, but they are more forgiving than not. So just blending that in just to sort of give it a nice look, focusing with the darker part of that in the corner of the V, but not going any more in than the center of the eye. Now I want to go a little bit darker still, so I'm going to grab any darker cream eyeshadow that you have, and just go right in the top of that V, if you will, and just put a little dot there. And I'm going to do that on both sides so you can sort of see what that looks like, just to give it some more dimension. And then I'm really just going to blur that around, not try to move it at all, just by tapping it and then pulling that brush out just slightly. Not going all the way to my eyebrow. Does it feel like Christmas is coming at 100 miles an hour this year? I mean, I know I'm really excited about it, and because of what happened, you know, obviously we don't need to relive all that, but I just feel like it's coming so fast. I mean, we're already in Hanukkah right now, and so for all of my Hanukkah friends, I hope you're able to just slow down and enjoy all of it that Hanukkah has to offer, because before you know it, everything is back to January. I just love this time of year. Everyone's festive and happy, and even though we all have a million things to do. So thank you for taking time out of your busy holiday life to watch this video, and hopefully it's helpful to you. And if you know somebody that wears glasses, I would ask that you please forward this to them if they'd be open to it. Certainly you don't want to offend somebody, but I get this question a lot. And again, really big thanks to Joyce for suggesting that I do this video, because I am new to glasses and I definitely struggled with how to make my eye makeup look the way I wanted it to once I started wearing glasses for reading. And it won't be long before I'm sure I need to wear them for everything else. So now that we have sort of added a little bit of eyeshadow, I think I would go back in. That's not quite as dark as I would want. Now you could use a lot of different colors here. I'm going to stick with these two because I just like the tones of them. So I'm going to go back in with the Dusty Mauve and just go a little bit darker in that V. So starting up here, V. And blending that out again just to give it a little bit more dimension, and then pull that out just slightly past my eyelash and up, but not all the way to the brow bone. That's the fun thing about makeup, isn't it? I mean, you can do something and you think in your head it's going to look great, and then when you apply it, the execution was not quite what you expected. So you can just go back and add more, take some away, add a different color, change your shirt if you really like your look, but your shirt is now contrasting with it. So that's always fun. It's easier to change your shirt than it is to change your makeup sometimes. Okay. So we're just really adding a V, not going any farther than the inside, and then putting a darker color in that corner of that V. And then from there, I'm going to go back to the brown that I used before, so that golden brown color. And I'm just going to go underneath my lashes on the bottom, almost all the way in, about 2/3 of the way, right where your lashes start to really get thin is where I like to stop with a liner like this, just so that the eyes don't come too far in visually, so that someone else's eyes, when they're looking at you, they don't follow that line and then suddenly your eyes appear smaller. So I just like to then blend that out a little bit. It just gives a nice little soft glow dimension to your eyes. And again, these colors are pretty neutral. So you can wear these colors or similar colors with whites, creams. I think mauves would look really pretty. Some browns would look pretty. I just would stay away from more your brighter, a red, a green, a blue. Some of those colors might not look as nice from a shirt perspective with this color of an eye. And then, I keep saying, and then there's more. So that's pretty simple, right? I think that we could keep this down to 10 minutes if I wasn't talking halfway through it. The next thing that we're gonna do is go to eyeliner. So we're going to line just the outer edge of our lashes, and I'm not gonna line the bottom because we've just done that. And I think when you start to get, especially with black, that starts to look really harsh with glasses magnifying it. So I'm just gonna go from the corner of my outer lashes as tightly as I can to the root of the lash. And I'm just gonna wanna go all the way in just to where my lashes stop. So not all the way into the corner of your eye, but all the way in where your lashes are. So just sort of highlighting that lash line. And we'll do that on both sides. And then you can always take it in the corner and flick it out if you want. For some reason, it's like my hand just naturally does that because it knows that that's what I want to do. I'm really trying to not have everything have a winged liner. Maybe that needs to be a New Year's resolution. I don't know, because it hasn't worked so far. Okay, and then I would just go back in because I always like to have a final cleanup look. I would just go back and just clean that up just a little bit so you have a nice straight line with anything that we've left over. And it just adds this little bit of highlight or this little bit of concealer right there, pulling up in that upward motion, just sort of gives a sweeping look. And when you're wearing glasses, this step absolutely helps because it just kind of cleans everything up and makes everything really polished and nothing looks out of place. It looks very purposeful, but clean. And then from there, you guys, all I would do is now I'd go to my lip. And now because we played the eye a little bit darker, and you can go thicker with your eyeliner if you'd like. You can go on the bottom if you'd like, and you could certainly tight line if you'd like. But again, be thinking about if your glasses are thicker, tight lining would be okay because it makes them appear smaller. But if your glasses are for seeing far away, then your lenses are gonna already make your eyes appear smaller. And so tight lining them will just make them look darker, but smaller. So if you have glasses that are for far away, I'd outline on the outside of your lashes just to give sort of that bigger look. And you can actually pull that liner out a little bit on both sides so that everything almost coloring outside the lines if your glasses are for far away. And then I'm just gonna go with like a nice natural lip, which is shocker, no surprise. And if you could see my top of my vanity right now, you'd see how hard it was to just find this NYX. But NYX Natural, it is my go-to. I just love this color. I think it's pretty universal. I think it would look good on a lot of different skin tones. It's sort of a, it's not rust, because it's definitely not on the, yeah, I don't think it's on the warm side, although it may be playing rust because it just looked rusty mauve. Rusty mauve. That's what I would probably call that because it's not orangey at all, but it's not cool tones. It's a nice natural neutral, which is probably why they call it natural. Okay, and then once our lip is sort of neutral natural, I could certainly go to, you know, this 910 Shining Peach from L'Oreal that I use all the time, which, gosh, I mean, $8. How could you not use it all the time? But I could grab, I love to have my makeup or all my lipstick in this big bowl. And now that I hold it up to the light, it's very dirty. But I put all my lipsticks in this big bowl because I just love the way it looks sitting on my vanity. I just thought you guys might find that helpful. I just can see everything in here. So I love doing that. See, there's another Shining Peach right there. Just waiting to be discovered. Let's not do Shining Peach because that's too predictable. Let's go with, oh, I don't know, pick a color, any color. RMS's Honest. I love this color. I've talked about this one before. RMS has really good products. They're all very natural. I love that about them. Moisturizing lip liner, lipsticks, bronzers. They have a really good bronzer I've highlighted before. And we're just gonna sort of make a nice neutral type lip. Now I would go back and clean this up because again, I do like to clean up everything. So I would just go and let that sit there for a second. So from there, we're just gonna go in and clean that up so that we don't forget that we did that. And make those lines nice and straight. Having the right concealer definitely helps. So if you're not happy with your concealer, experiment. Now's a good time with the holidays. There's a lot of minis available that you can buy a smaller one and see if you like how it works. But I do think sort of sorting out that Shape Tape, creamy Shape Tape, and creaseless concealer will maybe help you if you keep hearing about Shape Tape but it's not working for you. The one with the flowers on top. That's the easier way to remember it, and the bottle is square versus Shape Tape is more round. So if that helps you next time you're looking, I'll link them down below just in case if you are trying to figure that out, and that make it a little bit easier. So you guys, that pretty much would be the way I would work with that. Now, I would go back and do 2 layers of regular mascara, and then I would do 1 layer of the waterproof just like we did for the other look. But because I already have mascara on, if I was to do more layers, I think it would give a false look, because then we're looking at 6 layers of mascara, and that would make this look not be a realistic look for you to see and judge if it's a look that you want to try or not. So I think that this is where I would stop. Now, either way, I think either one of them can make a really nice look for glasses. So you can see this look with the glasses on, just a little bit darker eye, a little bit lighter lip, or this look that we did earlier, I think is also a nice look. So either way, I think you would be happy with that. I hope that's helpful. Again, the key is to do matte around your nose, wherever your lenses are gonna touch, and then think about the thickness of your frame and the color of your frame. And if you want look more to the lip, neutral eye, or if you want more of a bold eye and a neutral lip. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this is helpful. Please give me a comment and a thumbs up if this is a video that you liked, you enjoyed. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love for you to be a subscriber. It just helps other busy and ambitious women just like you find this type of a video when they're searching for video on how to wear makeup with glasses. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.